It's never just the money that makes someone rich or poor, it's the way they think about money. Give a millionaire the mindset of someone living in scarcity, and watch how fast the wealth disappears. But hand a person with very little the mindset of the wealthy, and they'll rebuild sometimes 10 times over. Why? Because true wealth isn't a number in your bank account. It's a philosophy. It's a perspective, a lens through which you evaluate every decision. Every second of your time, every opportunity, even every challenge life throws at you. After years of observing people rise from nothing or lose everything, I've come to a simple but powerful realization. Most people don't stay broke because they lack money. They stay broke because they've never stopped to question how they think about money. They never challenge their internal programming. Here's the truth. If you don't change the root, you'll always sabotage the fruit. A little, spend a lot. And keep wondering why real wealth always seems just a step out of reach. So today, let's peel back the curtain and talk about something invisible but powerful: the mental walls, the unconscious habits, the emotional spending triggers, the deep-seated beliefs that quietly divide those who create wealth from those who only daydream about it. Because let's be honest, the rich aren't just lucky, they're deliberate. The poor aren't doomed, they're often just unaware. The difference isn't just in paycheck size, it's in perspective. Let me share something that completely transformed how I handled money and ultimately changed the trajectory of my financial life. It's not about how much you make, about what you do first with the money you make. People with a poor money mindset tend to follow a pattern. They get paid, they pay the bills, they grab some takeout, maybe buy something to feel good. And if there's anything left over, and that's a big if, they might drop a few bucks into savings or investments. But here's the catch. Wealth doesn't grow from leftovers. If the seed never reaches the soil, it has zero chance of ever growing into something meaningful. The wealthy, they flip the script. They invest first and spend whatever remains.
Oh, maybe.
Investing isn't a maybe, it's a must. They treat it like rent or electricity, it's non-negotiable. And here's the kicker. It's not about how much you invest, but when you do it. I've seen people with modest paychecks build wealth faster than high earners, simply because they put the seed in the ground before they tasted the fruit. When I was younger and struggling, I learned a simple rule that changed everything. Take 10% of every dollar you earn and put it to work. Whether it's stocks, savings, a small business, make that money move, even while you sleep. Pay yourself first. Even if it feels tiny at first, the habit will shape your identity. Not just saving money, you're becoming the kind of person who attracts wealth. The kind of person who respects the seed. So, if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, stop focusing only on surviving the next month. Start focusing on the kind of person you're becoming every time you choose to invest instead of spending. Because wealth isn't built on income, it's built on priorities. Get the order right, and the outcome will follow naturally. But there's one mindset that traps most people in financial quicksand, and it's this. They're so focused on enjoying today, they completely bankrupt tomorrow. The poor ask, should I buy this now? Do I deserve it? Have I earned this treat today? They chase instant pleasure, even if it costs them long-term peace. But let's face it, what feels good isn't always what is good. Meanwhile, the wealthy operate from a deeper place. They don't ask what's fun right now. They ask what gets me closer to the life I truly want. They willingly delay the easy rewards to build something remarkably in the irony. They still enjoy life, but they do it with freedom, not debt. Now here's another key difference, and it's one that's often overlooked. Many poor-minded individuals believe they have to do everything alone. I'll figure it out myself. I can't trust anyone. I don't need help. But the truth is, you can't build an empire with just your two hands. You need community. You need mentors. You need to collaborate and grow alongside others. I discovered early that proximity is power. When I surrounded myself with people who thought bigger than I did, my own thinking began to expand in ways I never imagined. We talked about how your environment shapes your mindset, and how being around the right people can expand your financial vision. That lesson led me to one of the most important realizations on my wealth journey. I didn't need to be the smartest person in the room, I needed to be surrounded by people who thought bigger. That's when everything started to shift. That's when I stopped just working hard, started building wealth. You see, the wealthy don't just think about how to work, they think deeply about who to work with. They form powerful relationships that multiply their efforts, turning limited time into exponential results. That's how true scale is created. Collaboration becomes the engine of growth. Here's another piece of the puzzle most people miss. Those with a poor mindset tend to cling tightly to just one income. One paycheck, one job, one source. It may feel like security, but in reality, it's fragility. Because what happens if that one source dries up? The rich take a completely different approach. They build multiple streams of income that flows from different directions, like rivers feeding a reservoir. One stream might put food on the table, but many streams. That's how you buy freedom. Royalties, dividends, investments, rental income, business profits. These are income sources that keep showing up even when you don't. Think about it, what if money could keep working while you sleep? Not a fantasy. That's the goal. Shift your focus away from chasing every dollar and toward building a system that supports you. It's about trading momentary pleasure for long-term purpose. It's about choosing collaboration over isolation. And above all, it's about never relying on just one stream to carry your financial future. The poor mindset is rooted in protection. Don't lose what little you have. But the rich think in terms of expansion. How can I grow this into something more? Most people wake up with the same goal every morning. Go to work, earn a paycheck, and hopefully cover the bills. That cycle. It's the rhythm of survival. It's trading hours for dollars, day after day, without ever breaking free. They've been conditioned to believe that money only comes from effort. It's from sweating through long shifts or clocking in overtime. But here's a hard-earned truth I discovered early on. The goal is not to work for money. The goal is to make money work for you. That's the pivot point, the moment everything begins to change. I used to grind hard, show up early, stay late, work weekends. And still, I was barely keeping my head above water. Until one day, someone looked me in the eye and said, "You're working like a mule instead of thinking like a millionaire." That was the wake-up call I didn't know I needed. Poor-thinking people see income as linear, more time, more pay. But the wealthy see income as multiplicative. They create assets, they design systems, they build businesses and investments that don't depend on their daily effort. They put their money in motion into stocks, real estate, intellectual property, anything that can grow even when they're not watching. And here's the real magic. Once you realize money is meant to serve you, not the other way around, your relationship with it changes. The wealthy look at every dollar like a tiny employee and ask, where can I assign this dollar so it comes back with more? The poor spend and watch their money vanish. The rich invest and expect their money to return with friends, but let's not sugarcoat it. You can work hard your entire life and still end up broke if you never learn this lesson. Effort alone is not enough. Without a smart strategy, hard work only leads to burnout, not abundance. But when you put your money to work like a trusted teammate, that's when the tables turn. You're not the only one doing the heavy lifting. Your dollars begin to carry their weight. They get stronger, more productive, ... And eventually they outwork you. That's the moment you evolve from a worker into a builder. It's no longer about grinding harder. It's about building smarter systems and training your money to hustle harder than you ever could. But there's one silent enemy that keeps many people stuck: fear. That quiet whisper in your mind saying, stay where it's safe, even when that safety is an illusion. The poor mindset sees risk as a monster, something dangerous to avoid. It clings to the familiar, terrified that stepping into the unknown might end in disaster. But in chasing comfort, they unknowingly take the biggest risk of all, staying stuck in scarcity. I've seen this time and again. People who were right, on the edge of something great, ... but hesitated. They'd say, I'm not ready, or what if I lose it all? And just like that, opportunity passed them by. The wealthy don't leap blindly, but they also don't freeze. They study, they prepare, they ask smart questions, and seek wise counsel. Understand that risk without knowledge is reckless. but risk with preparation. That's the path to growth. There's a world of difference between fear-driven paralysis and respect-fueled action. When I started investing, I had to learn to respect the process. I read, I listened, I surrounded myself with mentors. I understood that every investment came with risk, but I also realized that every opportunity I avoided was a door closed. Too. The wealthy risk isn't something to fear, it's something to manage. And more than that, it's a test of mindset. It's because the greatest risk is never taking one at all. I've met people who played it safe their entire lives, never investing, never building, never leaping, and in the end, they weren't left with wealth, they were left with regret. The wealthy understand that fear is natural, but they don't let it steer the wheel. Instead, they prepare, take calculated steps, and sail directly into the storm with purpose. That's the kind of mindset that transforms lives. Because here's the hard truth. Many people let fear write their story. They freeze at the edge of opportunity, convinced it's safer to stay where they are. But the wealthy, they know that fortune favors the bravest, especially the prepared brave. They don't avoid storms. They build ships strong enough to navigate through them. So if you're serious about rewriting your financial future, it starts by rethinking how you see risk. Get educated. Plan intentionally. And when the moment comes, take the leap that aligns with your vision. Because living in fear of being broke often guarantees you'll stay that way. But there's another powerful shift that has to happen if you want real change, and that's the shift from blame to ownership. There's a quiet, life-changing strength in looking at your situation and saying, "This is my responsibility." Not in a way that beats yourself up, but in a way that reclaims your power. You see, the poor mindset often defaults to finger-pointing. It's the economy. It's my boss. It's how I was raised. There's always a reason, always a scapegoat. And sure, it's easier that way. It feels safer to believe your struggles are someone else's fault. But here's the problem. Wherever you place blame, you also surrender control. The wealthy do the opposite. They take ownership even when things are hard, even when it's not their fault. They don't wait for a lucky break or for someone to give them permission. They say, "This is my life," and own the outcomes. That's not about blaming yourself. It's about accepting the truth that you're in the driver's seat. And once you take the wheel, everything begins to shift. You stop reacting, you start leading. I've known so many people who spent years waiting for the economy to turn around, waiting for their company to recognize their value, waiting for the right time to make a move. But nothing changed because they didn't change. On the other hand, those who took responsibility even in the middle of difficult circumstances began to act differently. They invested in themselves. They picked up new skills. They sought opportunities and opened doors no one else could see. They stopped waiting for the road to appear and started building it themselves. This is the foundation of all lasting success. When you own your decisions, your mistakes, and your results, you also claim the power to improve. Blaming others only locks you in place, but taking ownership, that's the key that unlocks growth. If you want to change your financial reality, start by taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. Don't waste energy blaming the job market, the government, or your past.
Yes.
Instead, ask yourself, what can I do today right now that moves me one step closer to my goals? Because true wealth doesn't begin with a paycheck. It begins with personal responsibility. Now, let's talk about something just as critical: how you spend your time. This too often comes down to mindset. When life gets stressful or uncertain, people with a poor mindset tend to retreat not physically, but mentally. They escape into entertainment, TV shows, social media, hours lost in endless scrolling or binge watching something just to take the edge off. And look, there's nothing wrong with entertainment in moderation, but when it becomes your main outlet, it builds distraction, not direction. The wealthy take a completely different approach. They don't run from reality. They don't numb their discomfort. Instead, they lean into education. They understand that knowledge is the true currency of success, often more valuable than money itself. They read books, They listen to podcasts, they attend events, they build relationships with people who challenge and inspire them, while others are numbing their minds. The wealthy are sharpening theirs. Every hour is seen as an opportunity. Every moment is a chance to grow. They know that the more they learn, the more prepared they are for opportunities most people will never even notice. In my own journey, I discovered something simple but life-changing. What you feed your mind is just as important as what you feed your body. I've met people who could quote every detail about celebrity lives, who never missed an episode of the hottest TV show, but who constantly struggled with their money, their confidence, or their career. Then I met others, some with very little formal education, who committed to reading one book a month, who spent their evenings learning a new skill or understanding how wealth truly works. And over time, their lives took a completely different path, because education doesn't just inform, it guides, it creates direction. While distraction may ease the moment, it's knowledge that carves the road ahead. Now let's take that idea deeper, because once your mind begins to shift, your relationship with money follows. When you start choosing growth over distraction, something powerful happens. You begin to think differently. Money, work, and even life itself stop feeling like burdens and start looking like puzzles you can solve. Problems become challenges. Challenges become opportunities. So let me ask you, where is your time going? Are you feeding your mind with ideas that stretch you, empower you, and push you toward growth? Or are you just trying to numb the discomfort of staying the same? The truth is, the path to wealth rarely reveals itself on a screen. It's found in books and seminars and thought-provoking conversations, the ones that make you uncomfortable. In all the right ways, choose education, and you'll begin to notice it. Your thinking expands, your world opens up, and suddenly, you start seeing doors where there used to be walls. But even as your mind grows, there's another powerful force. You must face your emotions around money. For most of us, money is never just numbers, it's emotion. It stirs up fear, frustration, anxiety, and that's completely normal. But what separates those who stay broke from those who grow wealthy is how they speak about money. Because words aren't just sound, they shape beliefs. Beliefs drive actions. People with a poor mindset often talk about money emotionally. They panic over every bill. They feel overwhelmed by unexpected expenses. They dread the end of each month. And without realizing it, they start repeating phrases like, "I can't afford this," as if money is a locked gate between them and the life they want. That kind of language is rooted in scarcity. Fear, it shuts the door on possibility before. It even knocks the wealthy take a different approach. They don't pretend money is easy or that it grows on trees. They fully acknowledge the challenges, but they refuse to let emotion make the decisions. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," they ask, "How can I afford it?" That single word change turns a dead end into a doorway. They think creatively. They plan ahead. They view money not as an obstacle, but as a tool. And like any tool, money works best when handled with intention and skill. Throughout my journey, I've met people buried in debt, overwhelmed by stress, who spoke about money with fear, frustration, even defeat. Not surprisingly, their financial reality reflected that. But I've also met others in similar situations who paused, took a deep breath, and approached their finances with strategy. They trimmed their expenses, found new sources of income, made a plan and stuck to it. Their secret? They changed their language, which changed their mindset, which eventually changed their results. Because the way you talk about money matters. It's not just financial advice. It's psychological power, a place I can't with how. Can I? And watch how your perspective shifts, your creativity awakens, your confidence grows. And yes, your bank account may start to shift too, but even with all this awareness, there's one trap that continues to keep people stuck, especially when they start earning more. Lifestyle inflation. Too many people fall into the same cycle. A raise or a bonus comes in, and the first thought is, time to upgrade. Maybe it's a newer car, it's a bigger TV, a fancier apartment. It feels like progress, but it's actually a step sideways, or even backward. The poor mindset sees more income as a reason to spend more. And before long, The higher paycheck is matched or even surpassed by higher bills. The margin between income and expenses disappears. Financial stress remains right where it was before. The wealthy don't fall for that trap. When extra money shows up, they don't think comfort, they think capital. Their first move isn't to upgrade their lifestyle, it's to expand their investments. That might mean putting more into the stock market, starting a business, or acquiring another rental property. They understand a simple truth. Discipline creates surplus, and surplus becomes capital, and capital builds wealth. In fact, the wealthy often practice what you might call lifestyle deflation, intentionally living below their means, not because they have to, but because they choose to focus on the long game. They understand that temporary restraint leads to long-term reward. In the last part, we explored how the wealthy avoid lifestyle inflation by choosing long-term growth over short-term gratification. Now, let's take that mindset further, because building wealth isn't just about what you earn, it's about what you keep, and more importantly, what you do with it. When I was younger, getting a raise or making more money didn't mean it was time to spend more. It meant it was time to save more, invest more, and learn more. That kind of self-discipline wasn't always easy. Temptation was everywhere. That choice, again and again, is what laid the foundation for the financial freedom I enjoy today. Living below your means isn't about denying yourself or living a miserable life. It's about making powerful choices today that open doors tomorrow. True capital doesn't just drop into your lap. It's born from consistent, intentional decisions made quietly, patiently, and repeated over time. Every time you prioritize investments over expenses, you set a snowball in motion. At first, it may feel slow, even insignificant. But as that snowball gathers speed and mass, it builds momentum. And that momentum leads to more options, more security, and above all, more freedom. Here's the truth. The rich don't get richer just because they earn more. They get richer because they keep more, and they put that surplus to work. They build wealth quietly, like gardeners tending to seeds, while others chase instant gratification and wonder why nothing grows. You can do the same. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a superpower. It's the key to building the financial future you dream about. Choose to live beneath your means. Invest first. And over time, watch that surplus evolve into the capital you need to build the life you actually want. But here's another trap that keeps people from ever reaching that stage: the trap of waiting. Too many people sit around hoping that someday, somehow, opportunity will knock. They imagine that wealth comes from Luca winning a lottery ticket, an unexpected inheritance, a chance encounter with success. That kind of thinking is passive. And passivity rarely leads to prosperity. The poor mindset often clings to the fantasy that success is something that happens to you. But wealth isn't stumbled upon. It's built through preparation, through consistent action, through conscious decisions, day after day. The rich understand this. They know that opportunity isn't something you sit around waiting for. It's something you create. They invest in themselves. They develop valuable, in-demand skills. They build relationships with people who inspire and challenge them. And they place themselves in environments where opportunity lives, so when it shows up, they're already ready. In my own journey, I had to learn this the hard way. I spent too long waiting for the right time, but I realized that the perfect moment, it rarely knocks. So instead of waiting, focused on becoming the kind of person who could recognize in this opportunity the moment it appeared. I treated every skill I gained as a brick in the foundation I was building, every connection as a potential bridge to something greater. Over time, I stopped hoping for luck and started building a structure that could hold wealth when it arrived. Because wealth isn't a reward for wishing, it's a byproduct of preparation and action. When you're prepared, you don't just hope the opportunity bus stops at your door. You build your own vehicle and start driving toward the future you want. This shift from passive waiting to active creation changes everything. No one gets handed success on a silver platter. It's earned by those who step forward, take responsibility, make things happen, regardless of their starting point. So if you want to grow wealthy, stop waiting. Start building. Develop your skills. Strengthen your relationships. Put yourself in rooms where opportunity can find you, and be ready when it does. Because the rich don't find wealth. They make it. And there's one more shift that separates them from the rest. It's how they think about scarcity versus abundance. When you think in scarcity, you view the world as a limited pie where someone else's win is automatically your loss. You start to see success as something you must compete for, fight for, protect. This mindset breeds fear, anxiety, and constant stress. You cling to what you have because you believe there's not enough to go around. I used to think like that. Too early in my career, every time someone else got an opportunity, I felt like something had been taken from me. Like the world had a fixed number of seats, and mine had just been filled. But that mindset kept me small. It kept me reactive, defensive, and ultimately stuck. The wealthy think differently. They believe in abundance. They see the pie not as fixed, but expandable. If the pie isn't big enough, they don't fight for a slice, they bake a bigger one. That shift in perspective changes everything. It turns competition into collaboration, scarcity into creativity, fear into forward motion. The rich use leverage, knowledge, networks, and systems to multiply what they have. They invest in their own growth because they know that when they grow, so do their opportunities. That's why you'll see wealthy people constantly learning, seeking mentors, building systems. They know that growth is the engine of abundance. One of the most powerful lessons I ever learned is this: scarcity closes fists, but abundance opens hands. When you think abundantly, you're not afraid to share, to partner, to invest. You believe there's always more to create, more to discover, more to become. We explored how an abundance mindset opens doors, how it shifts you from scarcity and fear into a space where growth, collaboration, and wealth can truly multiply. Now, let's bring it all together, because the real transformation begins in your mind, long before it shows up in your bank account. If you truly want to change your financial future, the first step isn't finding the perfect investment or chasing the highest paying job. It's changing the way you think. You have to believe deeply and consistently that there is more than enough success, more than enough opportunity, and more than enough wealth, not just for other people, but for you. When that belief becomes real to you, something incredible happens. You start to see opportunities in places where others only see obstacles. You stop thinking, this isn't for me, and start asking, how can I step into this? That's how the foundation of financial freedom is laid, through a shift in vision, not circumstance. As we approach the close of this conversation, I want you to remember something simple yet profound. Wealth begins not with money, but with mindset. The gap between those who stay broke and those who build lasting wealth isn't luck, inheritance, or privilege. It's not even talent. It's perspective. It's in how they view responsibility. It's in how they treat every challenge as a stepping stone. And it's in how they believe in their own potential, even when results haven't yet shown up. You have the power to rewrite your story, not someday, but starting today. Do it by choosing a new philosophy about money and success. You do it by taking full ownership of your future. That means investing before spending, living beneath your means, and most of all, thinking with abundance instead of fear. Don't wait around for perfect timing. Don't count on luck to find you. Instead, build the life you want through constant learning, through smart, calculated risk-taking, and through surrounding yourself with people who push you to grow. Make your money serve you. See every dollar not just as a number, but as a tool to create freedom, options, and peace of mind. That's what true wealth really is. So here's your next move. Turn what you've heard into action. Write down your goals. Design daily habits that match your vision. Show up for yourself not just when it's easy, but every single day. Because wealth isn't some far-off fantasy. It's the natural result of a person who thinks like the wealthy, acts with intention, and refuses to settle for anything less. Your journey toward financial freedom begins the moment you choose a new mindset, Choose it today. Step fully into it. And watch how the life you've always imagined starts to unfold right in front of you. So now you've seen it, the truth about wealth that most people never learn. It's not about luck, not about earning millions overnight. It's about mindset, discipline, and deliberate action. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't need the perfect background or a lucky break. Everything you need to start is already in your hands: the ability to think differently, choose wisely, and build consistently. The question now is, what will you do with it? If this video sparked something in you, a new perspective, a shift in belief, or even a small spark of motivation, don't let it fade. Take one step today. Write that goal. Open that book. Start that savings plan. Have that conversation. Because every great transformation begins with a single, intentional move. And remember, the journey to financial freedom isn't just about becoming rich. It's about becoming the kind of person wealth is drawn to. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your mindset can shape your world, and maybe there's two. Thanks for watching. Now go build something great.